Hi everyone, it's Kim, and I wanted to talk to you today about something that I get asked a lot. My crystal broke. What happened? Why did my crystal break? And can I still use it? And this is a very good question. There's a lot of people who automatically say that, oh, it's something that a physical happened, which very well could be. But let's look at some of the more practical reasons why your crystal might break first, okay? If you know me, you follow me in my group and we talk a lot, I always come up with some of the practical reasons why. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't metaphysical reasons why or vibrational reasons why our crystals break, because I do think that that happens as well. But I want to take a look at more practical issues first, or scientific reasons why your crystal breaks. I think that's a really important thing to take a look at. So you have a crystal. Let's say you have a crystal that is very soft and brittle and has a Mohs hardness of like 2, like a selenite. 2 or 3 on the Mohs hardness scale. It's very brittle, it's very soft, and it can easily break. And if you put it in water, it's going to get softer and things of that nature. So you want to look at the hardness of your crystal first to see if it's one that has a tendency to be brittle or break. And you can go to this great website. It's called mindat.com, and I'll put the link below. And you can look up the Mohs hardness of your crystal. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the softest and 10 being the hardest, where does your crystal fall in there? Because if it's really soft, like a 3 or 4 and below, it has a tendency to break or be very brittle. All right, so take a look at that first. Another reason is some of our crystals have been heat treated. So if you have, and I don't have it with me to show you, but if you have a heated citrine druze, it has a tendency to be very brittle. And it's very crumbly, and so it might easily break. So that doesn't necessarily mean something metaphysical is going on. It just means that because it was heat treated, that it's not as strong as a regular quartz would be, so it might break. You also might have crystals that already were broken or fractured, in which the seller actually glued them back together to try to increase the cost. I know, it's horrible. But something like this, and that's not the case with this, but I'm just giving you an example of this gorgeous smoky quartz cluster that I have. It could very well have a piece, glued in there, and I don't believe it does. But there are sellers that will do that, and they'll glue it back in, and so it could, easily come out. And so it's not something metaphysical when your whole point falls out. It could very well be that, it was not completely natural when you got it. So that's something to look for. I'm not saying that's always the case. These are just examples of some things that could possibly be the reason. So odds are also you might have bumped it or hit it, or if you had it in your car and it was bouncing around, or banging into other crystals or banging into other things, it could easily chip or break. Also, extreme temperatures could also cause your crystals to crack, or have little bubbles and things like that. That might have bubbles in it already, or fractures in it already, but then when it starts banging into other things, it could crack. So these are very common things that happen with our crystals. Also, the atmosphere changes could also cause our crystals to crack or break or fracture. So for the most part, we're probably looking at very common practical reasons why your crystal broke. However, there's a really great article by Hibiscus Moon, who was one of my teachers for crystal healing, and I'm also advanced crystal master that I took classes with Hibiscus Moon. And she has a really great article, and I'll put the link below. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to quote her from this article to make sure that I get it correct. She said, this is Hibiscus Moon, the vibrational frequency of the crystal may be synchronizing with the frequency in its environment, and boom, crack, quote unquote. And she talks about, gives an example of a singer that breaks glass. So there could be something going on with the vibrational frequency of the crystal and its environment, which I find fascinating. And so if you have a crystal that all of a sudden just spontaneously combusts, there could be something going on with it beyond the practical, scientific, environmental kind of reasons that I talked about. So there is definitely, this option So take a look at that article that links below, and she gives a little bit more information about it. Really fantastic article about why my crystals break. So I thought that was a really good one to share with you. So yeah, and there also could be metaphysical reasons. I mean, I've heard people talk about a crystal that all of a sudden turned black and exploded, you know, from too much negative energy or something along those lines. So I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I just want you to go ahead and check out all the other possible reasons why it could break, because I don't want people to have crystals and think that they're cursed, you know, something horrible is going on and harboring all that negativity and stuff. So, you know, I don't want you to be afraid. Just because your crystal breaks, it doesn't mean you're cursed or doomed, you know. I don't want you to have that fear, and that comes out a lot. I see that in a lot of the Facebook groups. So can you still use your crystal? Absolutely. You know, think about this. The crystal that you have, and I'll go back to my smoky quartz, you know, it was part of a much larger family of smoky quartz. I mean, it was probably in a big, you know, family. And we dug it out, did we not? We broke it. So when you think about it, this is a broken crystal. It was mined and taken away from his home. So yeah, you can still use your crystal if it's broken. I don't think that you have to bury it forever and ever. If you feel comfortable doing that, if you do think that it was something metaphysical going on, then go ahead, by all means, follow your own instinct and your guts on that one, and you can bury it if you'd like. You can also retune it. I would definitely recommend retuning it and resetting its oscillatory dominant rate. And by you can use your singing bowl or tuning forks. So go ahead and retune your crystal before you use it again. If you're broken half, maybe, you know, you can gift it to somebody. The one thing that I think is really important is to not just throw them away. If it's a crystal that, you know, it broke and maybe you don't want to work with it or you're hesitant to work with it, you can retune it and you can give it away. Or something that I've done with crystals that have really shattered and you can't use them anymore, there's a couple things you can do. You can find out if anybody uses them for other kinds of craft projects, you know, or can it be used in a different kind of way, like in a craft project or as a piece of jewelry if it's a smaller piece. You know, can it be used in a different way, to put around a frame, you know, or to make some kind of mobile out of them. I don't know. I'm just giving you different ideas, but you might be able to use the different pieces in another way. If it's too small or you can't really like meditate or carry it or use it like that anymore, you might be able to make into little barrettes that you can wear in your hair, just, you know, by gluing them on. So, you know, there are different ways you can use your crystal if it breaks and you no longer can use it as a meditation tool or something like that. You can also put it in your garden. So when I have crystals that I order and they come in a big box, and a lot of times there's like little powdery residue and stuff, I'll go ahead and I'll put it out in the garden. You know, I don't throw it away. I put it outside and give it back to Mother Earth. So you can do that too. All right, so yes, you can still use your broken crystals. No, it's not always something horrible or negative that happened, though it can be, but you need to figure that out. Take a look at that article by Hibiscus Moon, and I hope that I answered this question, because I get asked this question a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.